Welcome back to the Filmaholic. Here we have another episode of the One Tree Hill Rewatch. This is the final episode I'm going to do for season 1. So last episode we stopped with 118, which was, or 117, sorry, which was the episode they go to Charlotte for this cheerleading / basketball game. So this episode, the next episode, is the 18th episode of season 1. It's called To Wish Impossible Things. It came out on April 13th of 2004. And it's the boy toy auction. So in this one, for charity, I guess a school event, they auction off these teenage basketball players for people to buy and do whatever for the night. So rewatching it, it's not a bad episode. I like the episode, but it's weird. I don't know why this was ever, like, when the pitching the ideas, this was approved, because this is like really unrealistic, and I don't think would have happened even back in 2004. But okay, so we pair the people off. We pair Lucas and Haley up, Nathan and Peyton we haven't seen together for a while, and Jake and Nikki, and Brooke and Mouth. The Brooke and Mouth one's really nice because it's different. It introduces this new friendship that we'll see later in the series. And it also adds us more emotional depth to Brooke. The Jake and Nikki one's interesting because it plays more onto what we know about their relationship and add more to that. Obviously, Nikki's probably one of the worst characters on the show. And the Lucas and Haley one's obviously nice because their friendship is one of the highlights of season 1. Also, can't forget about Deb and Tim and the hilarious scene where Dan walks in and sees them together. Definitely probably the best moment in this episode. For the most part, like I said, good episode. There's some questionable things in there, like why they went through and everyone did this midnight kiss thing. It's kind of weird. But yeah, overall, good episode, but not one of the best of the season. And that episode does end with Brooke going to the river court to talk to Lucas, which leads us into the next episode, is that she thinks that she's pregnant. Her and Lucas had this pregnancy scare, and the whole episode is about them dealing with that. And Lucas trying to understand, well, not really about him trying to understand, but him starting to experience what Dan might have went through, and Dan actually tries to give him some advice. May not be the best advice, but it's advice nonetheless. And you know, despite what you where you may stand on that advice, once again you start to see the other side of Dan, what he was going through back then, and how he still processes it today. At the end, Brooke obviously is not pregnant. Then we get to episode 20, What Is and Should Never Be, which aired on, well, by the way, let me go back here. The last episode, which is 119, aired April 20th, 2004. And the next episode here aired April 27th, 2004. Was episode 20 of the season, What Is and Should Never Be. And with this one, Nathan gets a job. He starts working at Hot and Twisted, the pretzel place in the mall. And Haley decides to throw a party at Nathan's apartment, which, whatever. Brooke is not invited, so she ends up befriending Nikki, and they come to the party. Things turn south. Nikki and Peyton end up getting into a fight, which is good because then it's revealed that Lucas slept with Nikki's big wrench thrown into everyone's relationships there, which ends up kind of starting to fix the Brooke and Peyton friendship that we've seen shattered throughout the season. Keith has already proposed to Karen. She's turned him down, which that's another thing. Is like, I like Keith. I'm not a big fan of Karen, especially overall. this season. The second half of the season, once again, don't like her. I think she's very hypocritical and just kind of annoying, honestly. But it's not surprising that she turned Keith down in this season, because why would he ever ask her to marry him? Like, he loves her. That's fine. They were probably going to be in a relationship before this car accident happened. But why he felt that he could just go out and buy a wedding ring when they were never really dating, it's weird. I'm not gonna say it was bad writing, because maybe that's what the character just felt, but it's not surprising that she turned him down for a marriage proposal. But the fact that she turns him down in general and, pursues this relationship with Larry, I don't know. It says a lot about her character to me. Not a big fan. So Keith, tries to move on throughout the rest of the season after that. In this one episode, he's got a job interview, which we know. I'm gonna go ahead and lay that out there. He ends up getting the job and moves to Charleston. So that takes us to, also in the last episode here, episode 20. After the fight breaks out, the cops show up. Nathan shows up, gets arrested, mainly because he smarted off at the cops. But so he gets arrested. Nathan goes and bails him out, or Dan goes and bails Nathan out after he sleeps with Deb again. Lucas and Haley show up to help Nathan, but Dan's already there. And they get into some sort of argument outside the police station, and Dan's like, go ask your mom what really happened back then, which I think's great. I love this part of the show, because once again, you start going deeper into Dan and his backstory and why things are the way they are in the show. And then you see another side of things, that he did want to be a part of Lucas's life. We've already seen the photographs that he's kept. We know now that he wanted joint custody of Lucas, and Karen said no, and the lawyers told him his chances weren't good. I think that paints a big picture of him so far. Like, you can say what you want about Dan, like, he's definitely got lots of flaws, but he wanted to be part of Lucas's life, and he wasn't able to be a part of it. We get to episode 21, called The Leading Song, which originally aired May 4th, 2004. And Dan, in this episode, Whitey he's going to go into the hospital for a small procedure. Dan ends up getting the student council or basketball board, whatever, to approve him as the coach. So he comes in and starts coaching the team while Whitey's going to be away. Peyton has this big thing she has to deal with Jake. She's watching Jenny, and Nikki comes up in the mall and takes Jenny, and there's this big scare, and pretty much at this point Jake knows that something's about to happen with Nikki. She's either going to get Jenny, or they're going to have to do a joint custody type thing, and he doesn't want to do that. So Peyton, with the help of her dad, finds a way to help Jake out. He gets on a ship and goes away with her dad to, ends up, we find out, Savannah, Georgia. We don't know that at this point, I don't think, or maybe he does mention it, but that's where they go. And then we get to the finale here. The finale is episode 22, The Games That Play Us. The original air date was May 11th, 2004. And this is, other than the pilot, which is the pilot, and just the pilot is the original. It's the start of the show. So that's probably my favorite episode of season 1 is the pilot. Other than that, the finale is my favorite of this particular season, because it's so good, and I love how it goes back and forth throughout the episode. It's not just a straightforward finale. It's one point and then flashbacks leading you up until that point. And between the last episode and this episode, and they're all good. They're all it keeps you interested throughout the episode, teasing you what's going to happen. Paul Johansson's got some really good scenes in here. really like a little emotional moments. Lucas telling Haley that he's moving, and you know, in the graveyard, like that was a good place to film that scene too. It just like added more to the scene. Um, the iconic him missing the shot and them losing the game and losing their undefeated season. Obviously, there's big twist in this episode that changes the course of the show. One is obviously Nathan and Haley get married, right? And it's weird because like obviously I know that, but throughout the course of season 1, I kept forgetting that was in the finale because me and Sarah's rewatching it, and I was trying to, the biggest surprise cliffhanger to me of season 1 is Dan having the heart attack, and I was trying to think what her reaction was going to be when she saw that and when she saw like all that stuff, and the fact Lucas was leaving and all this. But then I was like, oh wait, yeah, they get married in the finale of this season. So that's probably like that's the biggest thing about this episode because it changes everything moving forward. But you also have Keith and Deb sleeping together. Then the heart attack following that, which starts a domino effect in the series moving forward. And really, yeah, that's really the start of a lot of stuff that's about to happen, even in season 2 forward, whatnot. Which, you know, the breadcrumbs have already been laid before this, but you know, that's the start of it. We're about to season 2. Season 1, it's not my favorite season. It's one of the best seasons because the writing is so good. The writing is so fresh, it's so original, it's so true, it's so real, the writing of season 1, for the most part. And that's what I think is so great about it. It still has that WB Dawson's Creek nostalgic feel, but like new. It's not like a rip-off of that. It's its own new thing, which as the show grows, it still stays true to being One Tree Hill, but it grows into, it's different as it goes along. Not in a bad way, but it's not the same as it is in season 1. Season 2 also feels this way, but as we go more, it becomes this, you know, more it expands of everything. The story, obviously the characters, but it's not just a simple high school, we're playing basketball, these relationships. More gets into the stuff with Dan in season 2, you know, Nathan and Haley's marriage, musicians, stuff that happens in season 3 that I don't want to mention yet. Yeah, and then obviously when we get to season 5, it's a completely new thing with them jumping 5 years ahead. But yeah, that's done with season 1. When I start doing season 2, which we've actually started watching season 2 already, so I'll be doing that video soon. I got one more episode I think I want to watch, and then I want to do a video on the first 4 episodes of season 2. I'm going to try to break things down a little bit differently for you guys. I want to like actually list the directors and writers of each episode, as well as the original air date and title and all of that. I was really, when I was doing season 1, it's really like trying to gather what I want to talk about. And as much as I love to talk about One Tree Hill, it's like, where do you start trying to talk about it, you know? Other than just recapping what happened in those episodes, I want to give more insight and stuff to it. But yeah, so I'm going to start trying to do that in season 2. Season 2, give a little bit more information about that, maybe give some more information about locations. Favorite episodes, season 1, pilot, finale, episode 13, and probably episode 7, Life in a Glass House. Those are probably my favorite episodes of season 1. And overall, I think I've already told you guys my favorite character of the series is Dan, but my favorite character of season 1 alone was Peyton. Least favorite character, Nikki. So, I mean, obviously. Favorite song of season 1? I Don't Want to Be by Gavin DeGraw, obviously, because it's the theme song and it's so good and it fits the show. I have the first episode of season 2 for you guys coming up soon.